Buckingham, Delegate Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, y'all can quote me. I've been saying this for years. I've looked it up, and I think it's original. Justice that is not blind is not justice. And saying that this bill allows prosecutors the discretion to decide whether to charge a criminal offense as a felony or a misdemeanor, by definition, creates justice that isn't blind. It allows a non-lawmaking entity, an executive branch entity, the prosecutor, to make decisions on how to prosecute people for an offense that could be prosecuted in somebody different, an entirely different way. That should scare us. That should scare us. My political mentor was vehement that seatbelt laws shouldn't be a primary offense, because he didn't want people to be able to be pulled over because a trooper at 70 miles an hour thought, I don't think he was wearing a seatbelt. And I said, why do you care so much about seatbelt laws being a primary offense? And my mentor said to me, he might not be able to tell whether he's wearing a seatbelt, but he can tell if he's black. Justice that is not blind is not justice. So we say we're arming prosecutors with the ability to decide how to charge an offense. Now, my colleague from Chesterfield, from Roanoke area, or Blacksburg area, spoke yesterday about 1 gram of fentanyl being the high-capacity magazine of drug overdoses. 500 lethal doses of fentanyl in 1 gram. And so when you arm prosecutors with the ability to decide how to prosecute that which this legislative branch entity has said should be a felony, what you do is ensure that some people are treated differently under the law than others. And that's not the worst of it. This intentional creating of a two-tier justice system where the legislator forfeits their responsibility to make laws to the executive branch entity, that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is what fentanyl is doing to our children. I speak to you as a member of this body, but as a father of 3. Ladies and gentlemen, about 1,500 Virginians died during the entire decade plus of the Vietnam War. That many Virginia lives will be lost to fentanyl between January and September of 2024. Wrap your brains around the scope and scale of the tragedy that is visited upon our families, because it rips our families apart across the socioeconomic spectrum. Drug overdose deaths fell by 47% between 2010 and 2020, 47% in 10 years, and they have skyrocketed past 2010 levels because of the scourge that is fentanyl. I cannot conceive that in a Commonwealth where this tragedy impacts us uniformly, regardless of race, creed, ethnicity, region, we would have a bill that would allow us to vote to reduce the sentence for the people who are selling death to our kids. But here it is. Mr. Speaker, make no mistake about it. This isn't about allowing prosecutors discretion. This is about reducing the penalty for distributing 500 lethal doses of fentanyl to a misdemeanor. And we know the impacts that laws have. Virginia Truth in Sentencing worked. Virginia Exile that cracked down on gun violence worked. It saved lives. This bill, and I respect the heck out of the patron, this isn't personal, this is policy, will cost the lives of Virginia children by devaluing the offense that is distributing fentanyl, 1 gram of which is the high-capacity magazine of drug overdose deaths. Mr. Speaker, I hope that the citizens of the Commonwealth are watching, because we can say this bill is about anything we want, but what this bill is about is allowing prosecutors in one community to treat one defendant different than they treat another, which is inherently un-American in my estimation, and will lead literally to the death of our very children, the fruit and gold of our future. Mr. Speaker, I understand the sentiment behind this bill. I think it is wrong-headed, and I ask you, regardless of political affiliation, to join me in voting against this sentence reduction for fentanyl dealers here in the Commonwealth. Thank you.